Welcome back to Storytime. Today I'm sharing the deeply moving memoir To Love and Let Go by Rachel Brathen, also known as Yoga Girl, a raw, honest journey through grief, healing, and finding gratitude in life's darkest moments that will touch your heart and inspire your own healing.
Have you ever found yourself just feeling totally overwhelmed? Like life throws this huge curveball, maybe a really tough loss, something that feels impossible.
Yeah.
And you just wish you had some kind of map.
Yeah, like a guide through the really hard stuff.
Exactly. An honest guide for how to navigate that heartache, how to just keep going when things feel broken. If that sounds familiar at all, you're definitely in the right place today because we're doing a deep dive into Rachel Brathen's really, really powerful memoir, To Love and Let Go, A Yoga Girl's Journey.
Such an impactful book.
It really is. And our source material today is straight from those pages. It's incredibly personal. Our mission really is to unpack the key takeaways from her journey. Healing, self-acceptance.
And finding gratitude,
Yeah.
right? Even when things are incredibly difficult.
Yes, finding that gratitude amidst huge adversity. We're going to explore how she took these immense personal struggles and turned them into lessons for living a more fulfilled, more vulnerable life.
Giving you a shortcut, sort of, to her core message.
Exactly. A distilled understanding, maybe some surprising insights into her path, too.
Yeah.
Hopefully it offers something for anyone facing their own tough times.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's unpack who Yoga Girl actually is, because maybe not everyone knows her global reach. Rachel Brathen, she's a Swedish yoga teacher, a best-selling author.
A huge voice in wellness.
Huge. And her path is pretty unique, right? Started in Sweden, then Costa Rica, then Aruba. That's where a lot of this story happened. She's built this massive following.
And it's more than just yoga poses. I mean, that's where her personal story and public persona really collide, isn't it?
How so?
Well, beyond building this amazing online community, she was a real pioneer in paddleboard yoga.
Right, I remember seeing pictures of that.
Yeah, imagine yoga out on the water, balancing on a board. It adds this whole other layer of challenge of mindfulness. Super innovative.
Definitely requires focus.
Totally. But what really makes her stand out in wellness and personal growth today, it's her honesty. Her almost brutal vulnerability. Her willingness to share the really deep struggles, the pain. That's why her story hits home for so many people. It feels authentic. You trust her because she's not pretending.
That authenticity really sets the stage for the book, To Love and Let Go. So knowing that about her, let's actually get into the memoir itself. How does she structure it? It's not just chronological, is it? It feels anchored in specific moments.
Exactly right. It's not like then this happened, then that happened. It's built around these emotional landmarks, these really formative and often yet really challenging experiences. She takes you right into them.
So where does it start? What's the anchor?
The narrative really kicks off with this almost unimaginable loss. Her stepfather died suddenly in a plane crash when she was a teenager.
Wow, during her teens.
Yeah. Can you imagine your world just shattering like that? She talks about the shock, the immediate fallout, the emotional chaos that followed, how that one event just completely reshaped her understanding of everything, safety, love, grief. It plunged her into a really dark place.
That's incredibly brave to start a book there. How does she describe that time? Dealing with that level of grief, depression, anxiety, without making it just unbearable for the reader.
Well, she does it with just complete, unvarnished honesty. She doesn't pretty it up. She talks about the crippling depression, the anxiety that just wouldn't leave, days when getting out of bed felt like impossible.
Yeah.
The constant fog of sadness, struggling to find any purpose. And this is where yoga comes in, but not in the way you might think.
How so?
It wasn't about perfect poses for Instagram. She describes it as a literal lifeline. It was about the breath. Just focusing on breathing to anchor herself when her mind was just spinning out of control.
Just the act of breathing.
Yeah. And moving her body, sometimes just clumsily, she says, to release all that pent-up emotion. She describes specific moments on her mat where she'd find these tiny glimmers of peace. The physical practice became a doorway to maybe some mental clarity, some emotional strength that helped her navigate the maze of her grief.
So it wasn't the magic cure.
Not at all. She makes that clear. It was a daily, conscious practice. Self-care, resilience building, moment by moment.
So it's really about finding a way through the pain, not around it. Which brings us to the core ideas in the book, right? What does she really want us to understand about self-acceptance and dealing with loss?
Yeah, her take on self-acceptance is crucial. It's not just love yourself. It's about accepting your entire experience, especially the really painful bits.
Accepting the grief itself.
Exactly. She talks about moments where she consciously chose to just sit with the discomfort, the anger, the sadness, the fear, instead of trying to push it away or fix it.
That sounds incredibly hard.
It is, but she frames it as this radical act of being with the grief, and that became her path to acceptance. And then there's gratitude.
Which can sound a bit cliche sometimes, maybe?
Right, but not the way she presents it. It's not about pretending to be happy or dismissing the suffering. It's about actively looking for tiny fragments of light, even in the absolute darkest times.
Like what, specifically?
Well, she mentions being grateful for a sunrise, even on days she literally couldn't get out of bed. Or just the warmth of a cup of tea when everything felt cold and bleak.
Focusing on those small things.
Cultivating an awareness of those small mercies, she calls them. Shifting focus, even just for a second. And that shows how healing isn't this straight line, right? It's messy. It involves embracing the grief, finding that gratitude, and then the really big one, learning how to let go.
Okay, and these aren't just concepts for her, are they? She makes them practical. Let's dive into those core lessons, the pillars of her philosophy that you, the listener, can actually take away. First up, love. She explores that in different ways.
Yeah, it's multifaceted.
She talks really candidly about romantic love with her husband, Dennis. Not just as comfort, but as like a shared journey through the pain. How their relationship was tested by it.
Tested and redefined.
And familial love to her mother, her daughter, how those bonds were like anchors for her. But what really struck me was her focus on self-love.
Which is often overlooked or sounds.
Fluffy, yeah. But for her, it wasn't fluffy at all. It was like this radical act of self-preservation, a deliberate practice, especially when fighting depression, when maybe external validation wasn't there or didn't help.
That takes immense discipline, doesn't it, to practice self-love when you feel that low.
Absolutely. She frames it as critical for her survival, really.
Yeah.
For her eventual healing.
Yeah, she doesn't just say love is important. She shows its practical application in a crisis. How those connections to others, and crucially to herself, literally helped her keep going. It wasn't always perfect, she admits that, but the commitment to those connections was foundational.
Okay, then there's letting go, which, as you said, isn't about forgetting. It's about releasing the pain's grip. Does she offer specific ways to do that? Tools or rituals?
She really does. She gets quite practical. For instance, she shares this idea of a release ceremony.
What does that involve?
She talks about physically writing down the pain, the fears, all those unresolved emotions, and then actually ritually burning the paper. It's a symbolic act of release, of moving forward.
A tangible action.
Exactly. She also talks about using daily journaling prompts. Not to just dwell on the sadness, but to help distinguish between, say, honoring a memory and actively holding on to the suffering associated with it.
That's a really nuanced distinction.
It is. It's about acknowledging the past, remembering, but not letting it dictate your present pain. Finding that balance, making space for new growth by releasing what's holding you back.
And the third pillar, which feels like it runs through everything, gratitude. We hear about it a lot, but how does she make it real, especially given everything she went through?
Her whole journey is kind of a testament to how powerful a gratitude practice can be. She doesn't just suggest it. She shows how to actively seek it out even when things are terrible.
How did she do that day to day?
She describes literally scanning her surroundings, her body, her daily routine for anything she could be grateful for, however small. The taste of coffee, like we mentioned, or the sun on her skin, the feel of her yoga mat.
Finding those little moments?
Yes. And she links this directly to how gratitude, combined with mindfulness from her yoga and meditation, fundamentally shifted her perspective over time. It wasn't overnight.
It was a discipline.
A daily, consistent discipline. And she really teaches you how to cultivate that outlook, showing that even a tiny bit of light can make a difference, and it can grow.
It's powerful how these elements weave together.
Yeah.
And connecting this back, vulnerability seems like the thread tying it all together, doesn't it? How does she show that it's actually a strength?
Oh, absolutely. The whole book is basically proof of the healing power of being vulnerable and honest. She talks about sharing her struggles openly, not just privately, but with her huge online community.
That must have been terrifying.
Probably. But she found it didn't just help her process everything. It created this incredible wave of empathy and connection with others. People felt seen in their own struggles because she was being so open about hers.
So it helped others feel less alone.
Exactly. It built these bridges of compassion. It strengthened her, actually, and fostered this real community based on shared experience. And it makes you ask, doesn't it? Well, what does it mean to let yourself be truly seen when you're struggling?
Yeah.
What courage does that take? And what could happen if you offered that honesty to yourself and maybe to others? She shows it's this radical act with immense benefits.
So, thinking about the impact, what does this mean for you listening right now? And maybe for how we talk about wellness and mental health?
Well, her openness resonates deeply, especially if you're grappling with grief or anxiety or just seeking some kind of personal change.
She gives permission, in a way.
Permission to be imperfect, permission to struggle. Her honesty creates this space where people feel seen and validated. It cuts through a lot of the curated perfection we sometimes see online.
And the memoir itself, it's ultimately hopeful, isn't it? Despite the pain.
Well,
It inspires you to, as the title says, love fiercely and let go gracefully.
It's a call to find courage in that vulnerability, to face your pain without letting it swallow you whole, and to actively, consciously cultivate gratitude no matter what life throws at you.
Finding strength in the struggle, not in pretending it doesn't exist.
Precisely. Her story is just this incredibly moving narrative about overcoming huge challenges through how love, loss, and gratitude are all interconnected. It's packed with insights that can empower you to heal, to grow, to embrace your own messy, unique journey.
It really is.
It's such a powerful reminder that our struggles, as awful as they feel in the moment, can actually become our greatest teachers. They shape us, make us more resilient, more compassionate, more grateful, maybe.
So to wrap it up, Rachel Brathen's To Love and Let Go, it really takes you on this intimate, sometimes difficult, but ultimately transformative journey from deep loss and struggle,
Towards finding strength, healing, and real gratitude.
all through being radically vulnerable and connecting with others. It's about turning pain into purpose, a powerful lesson in how to truly live.
Beautifully put.
so here's a thought to leave you with. If this book teaches us that real strength often shows up when we're most vulnerable, and that gratitude can light up even the darkest times, what deeply personal experience in your own life might you look at again today? Maybe not with regret or trying to push it away, but with a new lens, perhaps acceptance or appreciation, or even just gentle curiosity. What part of your own story is waiting for you to embrace it?
If Rachel's incredible journey of love, loss, and gratitude resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe to Storytime for more inspiring book reviews, and share in the comments your own experiences with healing and letting go. Your story might inspire someone who needs to hear it today.